Good morning. My name is Shannon, and I am starting to homeschool a 5, 3, and 1-year-old. And so we are just beginning this journey, and mostly we read and play games and have fun and have adventures. But one of the most important parts of our day is our morning time. So I wanted to share that with you all. I shared in a past video about some habits that I've figured out that help get us all down to the breakfast table at the same time. And this is when I do our morning time, when we're all sitting down eating breakfast. That's when I have their attention and I try to do these things. So I'll link that video below if you're curious. But in this video, I'm just going to talk about what we do during our morning devotional time while the kids are eating breakfast. So the first thing I do is I read from my Bible. So I really think it's important for my kids to see what this is, to become a little bit familiar with it, to see that they can understand it too. You can see it's not a picture Bible, it's a normal Bible. And I only read a verse or two to them, but I want them to, get in the habit of being read to from this Bible, even when they're really little. I also read from this Bible. I love this. It's called the Complete Illustrated Children's Bible. You can find it on Amazon or anywhere, but it is beautiful. I mean, I'll show some of the illustrations. And I just it's not, cartoony. It's just really pretty, but it's also accurate as far as I have read, and just really love it for my kids. So I read my Bible and I read this Bible. Now, what I read from in these, I coordinate with this Bible study. So I have been following along with these Bible studies for the last 2 years, and I love them for my kids. So this is called The Foundations of the Bible, and this is by Driven by Grace. So you should check her out if you don't already know her. She has so many amazing things for you and for kids. So she writes these Bible studies. She's written one for each cycle in Classical Conversations, if you're familiar with that. Our family is part of Classical Conversations. So that's part of why I use these, but anybody can use these. These are just great Bible studies. This one is from last year, so cycle 3. And so she goes through, or she coordinates this with the Bible memory work that Classical Conversations has. So, for example, this one, we went through the Gospels to Revelation. And so what I will do, for example, is week 1, she has coordinated the Bible study in this particular Bible, I'll just show you. She has coordinated the Bible study with which stories in this Bible go along with it. So whatever the topic is of the Bible study, she has picked out the stories in this Bible that go with it. So that's awesome that she's already done that. So and sometimes, there isn't one for each day. So sometimes I'll add on, but I just pick stories that relate to the particular Bible study we're doing that week. So I do that. And then once I have the stories that we're going to read from this Bible, then I find the corresponding parts in this Bible. And again, I just read 1 to 2 verses to my kids in this. So that is what I start with in the morning. And they're very used to that. And so they know as soon as they sit down to eat breakfast, Mama will start reading to them from the Bible. So that is the first part of our morning time. The second part of our morning time is when we talk about our 24 family way of the week. So Sally and Clay Clarkson wrote this book called Our 24 Family Ways. And basically there are 24 biblically based statements about character, how we treat each other, how we operate in our family. So the one we are doing this week, we're doing the 24th one, is we always tell the truth and do not practice deceitfulness of any kind. So we memorize that throughout the week, and we also memorize the Bible verse that goes along with it. So keep your tongue from evil and your lips from speaking deceit, Psalm 34:13. So Sally and Clay Clarkson have Bible verses to go along with the 24 family ways. I used some of them, and then I also picked different ones because I wanted to have a song to go along with each family way. And I found my songs mostly from Steve Green. If you haven't heard of him, awesome. I love his music. My kids love it, and it's helping them memorize so much scripture. So I'll link his CDs below, but Steve Green or Seeds Family Worship, I found a couple from them too. So I have a song for each verse that we memorize, and so I play that song for my kids, and we hear it every day, and it helps them memorize the verse. So we talk about that and just talk about what the family way means and how we can apply that today. So that is what we do next. And I have made, I'll link this below, but I have made a just chart of coordinating each family way with a Bible verse. Again, some of them might be the same ones that Sally and Clay Clarkson use. Some of them are different, again, because I wanted to coordinate it with a song. And then I have the song it coordinates to. And then I also have a devotional reading that I'll talk about in a second from this book that coordinates to it too. So I will link below this if you're interested. So that is, the second part. The next part of our morning time is my kids' favorite part. We sing some hymns from this book. It is a treasure. It's a little bit hard to find, but you can find it still, I believe, even on Amazon probably. But it is just so cute. It has real hymns in it, but for kids. I let my 5-year-old choose one and my 3-year-old choose one, and we sing it together. My 1-year-old just beams and loves it. For example, this is like, "Oh, How I Love Jesus." It has a little passage you can read about the hymn too. So I highly recommend it. Kids love singing. I love that they're getting introduced to hymns. So it's definitely a treasure. So that's what we do next. After that, I pray. We're not done with our morning time yet, but my 3-year-old's attention span is very short, and I want to make sure we pray together as a family before she maybe wanders off somewhere. And a lot of times my husband will join us before he starts work. So we hold hands and pray together as a family. That I make sure, there have been mornings where we've forgotten, but I try my best to make sure that if we don't do anything else, we read a little bit of the Bible and pray as a family. So we do that next. After that, my 5-year-old, is still usually eating. She's like a slower eater, and she loves when I read to her from either this book called My Bible Verses, Hiding God's Word in Little's Heart by Susan Hunt. So good. This is what I've also picked out a devotion from this that coordinates with the family way. So I linked that below again, so you can check that out if you're interested. These are so cute. They have one for each letter, or you could just, go through it and do a letter a day or whenever you have time. So like, for example, the first one is "A soft answer turns away wrath," and there's a cute little story related to that. So I either read one from this one, or this book too is also by the same author, Susan Hunt. It's for, I would say, a little bit older kids. Like I started this one last year with my kids, and my daughter was 4, and it was fine, and she still loves it. This one, now that she's 5, she's able to, they're just a little bit longer, so she's able to pay attention and understand it more. But yeah, if you have really little kids, I would start with this one. So I read that. Some mornings I don't. It just kind of depends on the morning, depends how long they're taking to eat. I read it if they're still eating because then I have their attention. They'll just listen to me. When they're done eating, that's when I do first a hymn. So Kimberly on Instagram has made these beautiful hymns, or she has decorated them, and they're printables, and I'll link below how you can find her. But Classical Conversations has a hymn that goes with each week. Again, you don't have to be part of Classical Conversations or even homeschooling to do these, obviously. They're just classic hymns like Be Thou My Vision, Blessed Assurance, but there's one for each week. And this is something I'm just trying to start the habit, and then I want to expand on it as my kids get older and they have longer attention spans. So I will find this hymn on YouTube and play it for my kids and have them listen to it. A lot of times my 3-year-old is like off playing with something by now, but she still hears it. And then I will share. So on the back, Kimberly has written about the history of the person who wrote the hymn. So then I'll share like who wrote this hymn and a little bit about their story. Now I just share a little bit again because my kids are really little. As they get older, we could talk about it more. But I think it's really important for them to hear hymns, sing hymns, and just know a little bit behind the hymns, like what inspired them. So I do that, and then when they're really done, for sure done eating and ready to kind of do a little activity, I either have them do the activity from this Bible study, so whatever Bible study we're on or whatever week we're on, Driven by Grace has put some really awesome activity pages in this book. So I will, copy them and have a couple ready for my kids to do. And that's when I try to talk a little bit more about like what we read about in the Bible. And she has a teacher's guide, so I'll read this ahead of time and just try to talk about a little bit or read a little bit of the guide to them as they're working on that activity. Again, these are all like, these take a few minutes with my kids, but I'm hoping we can expand on it as they get older. Or sometimes I do that, and sometimes I have them color in their coloring book. So Sally and Clay Clarkson also have this 24 Family Ways coloring book. So they have, my kids already colored these, but they have, this is my 3-year-olds, but they have a picture for each family way. And it's fun to just kind of talk about like what's happening in that picture. So my kids went through these, and this is my 5-year-olds. My kids went through these like this past year. And so I'm going to get them a new one so we can do it again. Because I really like talking about like, what's going on in this? What does this have to do with the family way? It's really great. So we do that. So I like to have them after they finish eating breakfast, do kind of a little activity or coloring or something like that. So that is what we do. And some mornings go smoother than others. There's always chaos. The 1-year-old, is ready to get out of his high chair at some point, and sometimes he's content just playing with a little toy on the ground. Sometimes I need to feed him. Sometimes I just need to hold him. One thing I'm learning more and more with my 3-year-old too is physical touch is her love language, and a lot of times she just sits on my lap while we do this and I just hold her. So, it looks different, but I think it's really important to start these habits. And then again, as our kids get older and can sit longer, you can have longer conversations, read more out of the Bible. But I hope this is helpful for you. If you liked this video, if it helped you, please subscribe to my channel below. I am doing 2 videos per week about homeschooling help, tutor ideas, because I tutor in our Classical Conversations group, some health related things. So please subscribe if this was helpful to you. Have a wonderful day.